Coming up on today's show, we're going to go through every single game for Cleveland in 2025, and I'm going to go win, loss, win, loss, win, loss for all 17. So welcome on in to the Cleveland Browns Report. Matthew Peterson here, breaking it all down, starting with Week 1, where the Browns open things up at home against the Cincinnati Bengals. Then they've got the Ravens on the road, Packers, Lions. 9-8, playoff team, playoff team, playoff team. That is a brutal start to the season right there. So, let's get right into it. Week 1, I've got the Browns losing. I know that under Kevin Stefanski, they've kind of had the Bengals number. I feel like the last 2 years, things have started to balance out a little bit. And while the Bengals do get off to slow starts, so everything from a historical standpoint would point to Cleveland, I'm going to go with Joe Burrow over whoever the hell the Browns trot out there for Week 1. Week 2 at the Ravens, I've got a loss as well. I'm just going to be honest with you guys here. I'm not going to try and gas you up and go 17-0. I like to be, completely transparent, so I got a loss. Week 3 against the Packers at home, that does a win, right? Maybe the first 2 games, they come up a little bit short, but Joe Flacco did not win his first start for the Browns, right? He lost in LA against the Rams, so give it a little bit of time, and I like the Browns to beat the Packers at home. Week 4, they go to the Motor City. I've got this down as a loss. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Detroit's a very good team. The Browns are not a very good team, so I'll take the very good team in their home stadium. Week 5, they go to they don't go to Minnesota. They go to London, and they play the Vikings in the UK. I've got this down as a loss, and I've actually got this down as a loss, not because I think the Vikings are going to be very good next year. I could see them taking a step back. I think it's because the Vikings have a huge advantage. The Browns are going to go from Detroit to London, most likely. I doubt they go back to Cleveland. Maybe they do, but regardless, the Vikings in Week 4, they play the Steelers in Ireland. So they just hop across the pond a little bit, not even a pond, just like a koi pond, and go play in England after playing in Dublin. So huge advantage to them because they're already over there. So for that big advantage, I go with the Vikings. Coming back to the States, Week 6, I've got this down as a loss. So what are we right now? 1-5? Yeah, I understand why you probably have already clicked out of the video at this point and you are just rage commenting down below. But I've got some good news. I got a win. First true home game in a little while, since this one is technically a home game, but in London. Dolphins, I would have preferred to play them in like December or January, but they come up to Cleveland as the temperature begins to drop a little bit. Give me a win for the Browns over Miami. Plus, there's like a 90% chance Tua is injured by this point in the season. Another AFC East matchup in New England against the Patriots. I've got that down as a loss. So after 8 weeks, halfway through the season, I've got the Browns at 2-6. So, how many wins for the 2025 Brownies? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm going to share my answer at the end of the video, and you can see my entire 17-game record prediction. But let me know how many games you think Cleveland's going to win down in the comment section. The good news is you can't lose Week 9 because it's against the bye. So, bye in Week 9, good time for bye, middle of the season. Week 10, they get an extra week to prepare for the Jets. I got that down as a win right there. So now the Browns are, 3-6? Yeah, 3-6. Yep. We got a win against the Packers, so that's 1. You've got a win against the Dolphins, that's 2. And then you got a win against the New York Jets, that's 3. You had a bye, 3-6. So 3-6 for Cleveland going into Week 11. How about some momentum, right? The boys start to get rejuvenated after a bye. Ravens come to town. There's no reason why they can't beat the Ravens at home. They did it last year, shorthanded. Give me the Browns against the Ravens at home for another year in a row. And now the Browns, who started off 2-6, are 4-6. Maybe in the Hunt graphic by the time Thanksgiving gets here. Maybe not. They lost against Las Vegas last year, and that was a bad Raiders team. With Geno and Pete Carroll, they are going to be much more competent. So, while I don't think the Raiders are going to be very, I think the Raiders could be 7 to 8 wins this upcoming season. One of those wins, I think, happens against Cleveland. So now with that, they lose at home against the 49ers. The Niners always get hot down the stretch. If you played them early, like they did 2 years ago, you could walk away with a win. You play them late, it's a lot more difficult. So after getting 4-6, 4-7, 4-8, going into the final 5 games of the season, Cam Ward and the Titans come to Cleveland. Give me a win for the Brownies. There we go. So 5-8 right now for the Browns. All right. Week 15 in Chicago, 5-9. This one's a loss. I expect Ben Johnson to really turn things around in a hurry for Caleb Williams and the Bears. 5-9. Then they have the Bills coming to town. That's a loss. I got that as 5-10. This is probably the one that eliminates them from the playoffs. Maybe that one mathematically. Then the Steelers at home. That's a win right there, baby. Let's go. You beat the Ravens and the Steelers at home, so you go from 5-10 to 6-10. And then the Bengals on the road in Week 18. How about 6-11? So you doubled your win total from last year. You go from picking second to probably picking like 8th or 9th. And you have 2 first-rounders, which you could use to jump up and get a quarterback. So 6-11 is my final record prediction for the Browns. We'll kind of go through the entire slate one more time, but that's what I got. If you want to get a Shedeur Sanders jersey, by the way, a Mason Graham jersey, or a Quinshon Judkins jersey, they also have Carson Schwesinger jerseys as well. They have a lot of jerseys at chatsports.com/CLE rookies. I just ask that you use this link. It's a great way to, 1, support the channel, and 2, get an awesome, legitimate jersey from Fanatics. I put the link in the comments and description of today's video. So let's refresh on what I predict. This is one of the toughest opening slates for any team this year. Like I said, 9-8 is the easiest opponent based on last year's record for the first 4 games of the season. That's tough right there. Then you got the Vikings, who already are across the pond in Week 5. Steelers on the road. I just can't say with full confidence they're going to walk into Acrisure Field and knock off Pittsburgh, knowing the voodoo magic Pittsburgh has against Cleveland. But I like a win against the Miami Dolphins. I put this down as a loss because I just want people to recognize that I think the Patriots with Mike Vrabel and Drake May in year 2 are going to be better than people give them credit for. Plus, I remember Bailey Zappi came to Cleveland and kicked the Browns' ass. So a lot has changed since then, but yeah, I'd be naive if I just chalked it up as an automatic win. Week 9, bye. Win-win. A little bit momentum coming off the bye, but maybe a little bit like fool's gold as they lose in Las Vegas, and then the 49ers, who I think bounce back this year, take care of business in Cleveland. However, they do serve the Titans and Cam Ward, with Jim Schwartz going up against that rookie, a loss in Week 14, followed by, I think, a tough game in Chicago late in the season. Josh Allen and the Bills come to town. Steelers, I like this as a bit of a trap game for Pittsburgh. And then Week 18, you round out the year against the Bengals, which it's tough for Week 18 just because you don't even, like, if I said 2 years ago the Browns are going to win Week 18, I'd probably say that thinking they're going to play their starters, not having David Bell score 3 touchdowns in the game. So I'll put it down as a loss for now. All right, let's pick a card to wrap up today's episode. You want King of Hearts? I'm going to go with 7 of Spades. Two of Spades. All right, thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.